Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you may be watching from. Let's test the audio real quick. Hope you all having a good day. Um, good stuff. Today in current events, um, your boy emerged uh, via the birthing canal and intruded upon uh, 28 years old. 28 years old. Listen, I'm tired and I'm old, bro. In all seriousness, grateful for another year. Normal day, unfortunately. Originally, I had planned on taking, uh, Monday through today off, but gotta work, So we ended up getting Friday off. So we'll definitely be taking advantage of that. But I am grateful once again. A lot of people don't make it to this age. It is what it is. The realities of this world that we live in. We must be grateful. So anyway, in light of all of that, and that being said, I wanted to provide value. Um, my most popular videos on this channel are when I speak to older recruits. I look at my demographics quite often, and it tends to be the older. I believe the largest group was probably 24 to 36, around that range, and everything in between. But yeah, older recruits don't get a lot of love nowadays, although the bulk of YouTubers these days tend to be older recruits or older airmen or military individuals. So of course I want to provide value to those who need it, especially those who are searching for it. Um, remote locations. Remote locations. You'll find yourself eventually at some point in your career at a place not surrounded by anything. Typically, remote locations resemble deployed locations that just happen to be on our own soil. You don't have to go thousands of miles away, across the ocean, to be separated from the mass populations and your family and things like that. You could be sent a place like this, Clear Air Force Station, Alaska. The nearest gas station is roughly about 30 minutes away. 30 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on the season, the weather. There's never traffic. Um, this place is not. It's not on the map in terms of when you drive past, you won't know it's here. The only way to identify this place from the main road is you will see two lampposts that should not be there. It's the only lights on this desolate road. It's an interesting experience. It's an interesting experience. It's something you have to prepare for mentally. Definitely have to prepare for it mentally. If you come into this blind, you will mess up. So, in the interest of full disclosure, allow me to give you a window into my psyche, why or why not that I may or may not struggle, or why I had to plan for this environment. So my tendencies are to be alone, my tendencies, but my needs remain the same as any normal human being. I value people just like anyone else. I just can't have them all at the same time. I can't have them in high concentrate. So the value I have for people comes from the contrast of not being around people all the time. You will notice that the contrast between a major city and a place like this, or just going out in the country, going hiking, is the difference between the two environments. That's wisdom, noticing the difference. So when I came here, I knew what my tendencies were going to be in this environment. When you have a base like this where there are upwards of 600 people on the entire base, and that's just who works here. Um, a lot less than that actually lives on the base. Um, and then even a lower percentage of being active duty. So when it comes to the environment that you're actually assimilating to, it's going to be very different. It's going to be very artificial in nature. This is not a normal environment to be in. Just like a deployed environment, it's artificial. It was not there originally. It was not supposed to be there. It was placed there with great intent for a purpose, obviously. So with that, you have to be very intentional and very. That's probably the best word. You have to be very intentional, upon arriving here, especially before the preparation that goes into it, knowing how you're going to act in that environment and knowing what you're going to need to do to be successful in that environment long term. Because this is a year-long tour for me. It's a year-long tour. I can't burn out in the first month, and I can't be antisocial for the first 6 months and then think that everything's going to click at the 6-month mark. It did not work previously. Historically, I know myself. I know how I act. And so I knew coming into this what I need to do to be successful for a year in this environment. Probably the biggest thing that I was aware of in terms of how am I going to assimilate in this new environment that is separated from major bases, major cities. It's separated. It's in the middle of nowhere. We're surrounded by trees. If you look on the map, look up Clear Air Force Station. Literally, you will see trees surrounding the place, and that's it. That's it. So I knew coming here that I would have to force myself into social groups, force myself into certain events going on around base. I need to be intentional with my energy, of course. The time I get up needs to be planned. The time I go to bed needs to be planned. Everything in between needs to be planned more or less to leave time for spontaneity, leave energy for spontaneity. So whenever I get an invite, I have to say yes for a certain amount of time first. That's my first priority getting to base is your energy needs to be devoted to saying yes to invites. One thing about introverts that they won't admit, not all, but most introverts will not admit that they want to be invited to things, but they most of the time want to say no. It's not so much that they want to go to every single event, or you look on Snapchat, you see people turning up, look on IG stories, and everybody doing their thing. Cool. And I've never really truly been affected by the fear of missing out because I've always had access, to those environments. But it's the invite that most people put most pressure on. The emphasis comes from I did not get invited. Not I got invited and I said no. It's I did not get an invite. Well, if we're honest with ourselves, most of us usually get invited at least once. And typically our response to that first time, impacts the rest of the invites, if there are any. So I knew coming into the environment, I'm a new guy, I will have a sponsor. So that's one person I know automatically. I know one person, guaranteed, the person I'm replacing. And then beyond that, there's a work environment, the people you work next to, the people you see every day, the people you spend most time with. Those people are going to be, in your environment. What will be my response? How will I interact? How do I respond to their difference? How do they respond to mine? Obviously, not all personalities click. And of course, not everyone's an introvert. So, this video may be geared more so towards the introverts or those who just tend towards not always being surrounded by people. But of course, the principles apply to everyone. Realizing difference in individuals, realizing, the value different people bring to certain environments. Those of you who are gamers, a lot of people get no love, they get shamed more or less. So, you're in your room, locked away, lock and key, playing your video games. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But at some point, you're going to need people. And typically, introverts have little to no friends, accessible to them, mainly because introverts are all locked away in their separate rooms. How do you find someone who's never available? You rarely have time or get opportunity to run into someone else who's just like you because you're both running to the defect, run back to your room, run to the trash can, run back to your room, run to the gym, back to your room. There's very little opportunity to run into someone who probably shares the same values as you. How do you find these people? Well, for one, the internet. Luckily, we live in a day and age where the internet is accessible from most places. From most places, and so obviously there's different techniques and different, obviously the different apps, and of course Tinder's getting all the work. But you have all these different apps where you can have access to certain people. Obviously, in the workplace, that's a great opportunity to network, to just introduce yourself. You don't got to have a deep, heart-to-heart conversation, but that's an opportunity to connect on any level, asking questions. You don't need to be speaking the whole time. Ask questions. Where are you from? And immediately, just follow up questions. You don't need to have the deepest conversation, but you'll be amazed how asking only follow up questions to the question you just asked before can lead you to a deep and personal conversation. It takes effort. It takes effort. It takes energy. You know, it takes intentional and direct energy, quality conversation. When I first deployed, um, I went into it with I'm going to document. I got all my cameras. I'm a I'm gonna document my life away. YouTube videos, and I'm gonna make sure I get a video of this, and make sure I post this, and make sure I post daily, and all these different things. And I'm gonna come away from here shredded up. I'm going to the gym 2:30 a.m. I'm gonna be up. Nobody's gonna be up. Like, I had a whole plan, but I did not plan my social life. I did not plan my social life. And it came to get me because, about 3 months in, you can only go so long, by yourself without, social interaction. You can only go so long before you start, imploding on yourself. We're social creatures. And, your body, your mind does not know the difference between a remote location and a deployed location and a major city and a small town. It just knows I need to interact with humans. I just need a hug, every couple of months. Something light, just a quality conversation. I need to debate with somebody, every couple of weeks, just to stay sane. I need to talk to a camera, just to have some type of grounding to get my thoughts out. And of course, I was that person who tried to deploy and stay to myself for 6 months straight. It's not possible. And if you try it, you won't make it far. You won't be successful. You won't be effective, is the point. You're not going to be effective with everything you do, because the point is balance. The point is to have balance. You can play your video games, but you need balance in terms of your social interaction. It's real easy. It's real easy to get locked away and to get in your room, and you get tunnel vision, but then you're going to wake up one day and realize it's Christmas. It's Thanksgiving. What are my plans? I've gotten to a point where I don't get excited for holidays, but I definitely get excited for the time off. So I might try to kid myself. But we all get in that place where we try to kid ourselves. Like, hey, you see the memes, you see all the different, passive aggressive, stories and tweets and snaps where people are constantly claiming this cold heartedness that they have. I don't need anyone. I'll do this by myself. I'm gonna give you the same energy you give me. That I don't know what we're trying to accomplish with that. But at the end of the day, those likes, those retweets, comments, subscribes, none of that keeps you warm at night. We can all pretend, it doesn't work. And that's one of the very few good things about 2020 and just this whole biological offense that we're dealing with, is that it's bringing a lot of perspective that we have recently lost, historically speaking. A lot of things that we used to just operate in normally, like you pass somebody in the hallway, you say, "What's good?" And it wasn't awkward. It wasn't too deep to say what's good to someone or a stranger. We have technical and clinical names for it, but we used to see a beautiful woman, handsome man, and it wouldn't be that deep of an interaction. It wasn't on 10. My anxiety to shoot through the roof because I'm about to go say, what's good to old girl. She right there. But now it's a now it's a whole process of preparation, and I got to build up to it, and I got to drop my drink in front of her, and then I gotta like fall on top of her, and then she falls on top of me, and then we laugh off, and then we. It's not a movie. It's not that deep. It's not a script. It's two human beings who both have wants and needs, and all of a sudden interacting between humans is now something so deep. I don't know. I don't know. Why is that? Well, one thing I noticed, especially upon writing here, and I posted it a while back, probably some years ago. This channel, I don't realize how old this channel is actually getting. Um, I posted a while back that we've all lost perspective. If you think about how we react during natural disasters, it clicks. It clicks instantly. But of course, we get comfortable. We get to a place where, you know, the pain subsides, and we forgot what the pain, what caused that original pain. Why was I in that foolishness? But of course, once it subsides, we go back to our foolishness, like nothing happened. One thing I noticed, upon turning 28, of course, I slept right through it, but upon waking up, and of course, I realized it, pretty much every year since I probably turned 24, 25, something like that. The fight to stay awake, the fight to stay awake, the fight to stay conscious, the fight to stay present in your environment. You know, it takes energy to do so. Learning first names. You know how hard it is to get somebody's first name. It's not really hard, but in reality, especially in the military environment, it really doesn't happen that often in terms of calling someone by their first name. It's legal. It's allowed. Obviously, there's certain protocols that you follow in given environments and certain processes, you know. But I've noticed here that a lot of my leadership, a lot of people I work with, they use first names. It's not offensive. It's not against the rules, but it's shocking to hear my first name used, in certain environments. Like, actually, it was an email today that was sent. I was just CC'd on it, but they used my first name, and I almost took offense. I was like, "How you gonna use my government name just out in public?" But if you think about it, you know, I don't know. It's different. It's different. Whatever happened to human interaction? I don't know. It's something to think about. Something to think about. It's one thing about birthdays is your phone will never be as dry as the day before and the day after your birthday. We all have a certain longing for a certain amount of attention. Certain amount. Certain amount's healthy. I think so. But yeah, shout out to everyone for the birthday love. Birthday love. I'm grateful. But yeah, just to stay on topic, when you're heading to a remote location, do your best to coordinate with those who are going there. It's not too difficult to find out who is going to a certain location. You need to be resourceful, obviously, but upon getting there, be very intentional. Personally, I had to set a goal for myself to say yes for at least the first month or two, to say yes to every invite I received. I don't do it so much now because I'm just kind of settled in. And once you meet everyone on the base, like today we had a commander's call, there was maybe 30 people total, in attendance, because that's all we had for active duty side. It was about 30, so about 40. But yeah, you have to be very intentional. I came here telling myself I knew what it was with me. I already knew what I was going to do. I was like, bro, you're not going to do this what you did previously. You're not going to keep, running away from no. For the first month or two, we're saying yes to every invite we receive. And it benefited me. I met just about everyone, that I would typically run into in a very short amount of time. It cut my exposure to people. It happened so much quicker, you know. Especially like if you think about like these small environments that we tend to work in, it should not take you 6 months to meet everyone that works there. Obviously there's certain cases where they'll march you around the office and you'll meet, shake hand after hand after hand, and it gets tiring. But you have people that'll be stationed at a place and it'll take you a year, 2 years to meet everyone in your own office. And like that, that's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Remote locations are dope though. Again, it reminds me of a deployment so much. Whereas the interaction it's on a more personal level, yet still professional, obviously. Um, but the interaction it has to be more personal, just due to the seclusion of the location. And then obviously during your downtime, you're gonna run into the people that you live around. Like again, I live in the same building I work in. So does my leadership. So does my coworkers. We all live within 100 feet of each other, more or less, give or take. It's definitely a different dynamic. It's definitely a dynamic that you should take advantage of. Professionally, the networking, you're going to know everyone that you work around, including your leadership. It's a great opportunity to make a great impact on someone who has, a certain amount of positional power, which usually translates to leverage in terms of your professional, capabilities. Imagine having the ability to go straight to the top, the number one spot, you know, installation commander. You have a problem, you know, it's different when an installation commander, makes a phone call versus, your supervisor who's a tech sergeant or E5 or math sergeant. It's a different phone call. But of course, you need to be good at your job first. Certain things don't get overlooked. Certain things matter most in a single moment. Did you do your job before you asked for a day off? Were you relevant, to your position? Would I do another remote after this one? Probably yes. A lot of people tend to like them, especially people that I currently work with. A lot of them like those. Um, they like the personal environment. Very small office. Everyone. Everybody's family. Typically everyone's first name. You know what they like to do on their free time. I don't like it so much. I don't like my options being so far away. I don't like my amenities, being so far away. Amazon, shout out to Amazon, clutch. You know, I don't like having to buy a hotel every weekend just because I want to be close to my amenities. It's just something I enjoy doing. It's something I have to do for my sanity. It's something I advise to anyone who goes to tech school. If you have your car, if you have the ability to go off base, do so. You need that contrast, so you can have value, categorized properly. You need different perspective to keep you sane when you're going to be in a certain environment for a certain amount of time. Now, obviously, it's not always available in basic training, but they do provide that contrast in terms of the base liberties. You know, it's meant to provide you value, perspective, a clean slate, if you will, for that next week or so. We all need that. I have to exercise it weekly. You know, I spent 4 days in Anchorage this past weekend. This weekend, I'm going to Fairbanks probably or Anchorage. I don't know. I have another 4-day weekend, so let go, spend the money. Typically, there's two reasons to spend money. Typically, solve a problem for yourself or another, or to create an experience, an anti-fragile experience. Two reasons to spend money. I'll say it again: to solve a problem for yourself or another, or to create experience. Typically, those three things cover your reason to spend money. You know, and again, the anti-fragile part of the experience is quite important. You don't want to just experience everything and anything. You want something that benefits you, an experience that gives you value back, not an L that follows you. So yeah, when I spend money, and I do spend a lot of money, it's typically towards value. My birthday present, iPad Pro 2018. Obviously, I studied it well in depth. Shout out to MKBHD. Shout out Linus Tech Tips. Shout out all the different nerdy channels I enjoy following, all the tech channels. But yeah, this is a dope. So a lot of people think I'm anti-Apple, and I'm definitely not, because I now own 2 MacBook Pros, iPad Pro, iPod somewhere around here. I'm definitely not anti-Apple. Um, I I will not own an iPhone until they get the act together. Definitely, like, no, no, um, because yeah, iPhone is just, don't take away options expecting you to buy your product. No, shout out to the uh, what's this is Galaxy S20 Ultra. Just gives you options. The option to shoot 8K, the option to shoot 108 megapixel photos, the option, bro. The option to expand your storage. I don't know. It's just, but yeah, that was my birthday present to myself. Been studying for a while. I was trying to decide whether to get a new camera or the iPad Pro. So I found it on sale at the BX in Anchorage. I was like, let me level up real quick. But yeah, it's been an interesting day. Interesting day. I didn't tell anyone it was my birthday. The commander knew. Um, and again, I got that pass just because my birthday was in September, but no one knew about it, especially those who I worked with, and it wasn't that big of a deal because, again, um, although I am grateful and I do acknowledge it, I don't really. It's just normal day. It had to be just normal day, unfortunately. No big cake. Like at some point, you kind of grow out of the festivities. But of course, we never dismiss the gratitude, and the realization that a lot of people don't make it to this age, you know. So again, we're grateful. We're grateful. Let's see if we got any questions. I've been monitoring the chat from a distance, but how's the food up there? The food is survival equivalent. You will not die as long as you eat what's available up here. Apparently, there's a lot of natural berries. I won't be partaking. That's not something that I engage in. Is eating, random stuff off the ground. Although no, it's not a thing. What else we got? Try picking up a hobby like hiking or ice related activity. So yeah, I definitely engage in hiking. I do have some rules for my hiking engagements. I need to either be in a group or I need to be able to see 20 to 30 feet in any direction at any given time during the hike. I don't do surprises. A lot of you guys know I'm just kind of a little too structured for surprises, although I am very spontaneous. But I plan my spontaneity, meaning once my work is done, once I get up early and everything I need to do personally is completed, I have the rest of my day to devote to spontaneity and random activities and random road trips and all that. But yeah, I can't live with regret, knowing I skipped my responsibilities for the pleasure, because that's the quickest way to regret, is to avoid responsibility and replace it with pleasure. You will end up with nothing in the end. Little side note. What else we got? Console. So I do own a console. I own an Xbox S, and I haven't turned it on probably since July. Um, I don't know. I'm waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6 to drop so I can be decent and go out there and take lives and what have you. But until that happens, I probably won't be on again. Video games is not my speed, although I do enjoy the imagination it activates, but the rest of it is just kind of too much. I live with a super introvert. He comes out of his room to socialize maybe once every 3 weeks. He's not even awkward, just a loner. Yeah, a lot of people are just like that. Again, it's not a bad thing, but it's definitely not an excuse to be a whole person, at all. I notice a lot of introverts use that as an excuse, not to be, interactive. To be introvert, it's just the contrast. It's just the difference between an extrovert. Neither one is bad. but neither one is a life sentence either. You should be able to flip a switch at some point, devote energy to a project or to a task, to a process, and then flip it off. No one needs to stay in one mode. You don't need to be an extrovert the entire time. Stay on 10, constantly engaging, constantly, trying to raise the roof and turn it. Like there should be some type of dynamic to, your energy expenditure. You should be able to flip a switch. And by the way, if you know introvert, if you know extrovert, the worst thing you can do is try to change them. There's nothing worse than someone that meets you immediately and they try to change your personality. How are you going to change someone's personality? Let them be who they are. Ask questions. Ask questions. Make them. I'm not saying make everyone feel comfortable in terms of. I guess I am saying that because no one constantly wants to be impressed upon. Hey, change this about your personality so I feel comfortable. No. That should be something that they should do on their own so they can be effective in certain environments. Because in certain environments, you need to be extrovert. In certain environments, you need to be introvert. You need to have wisdom to be able to determine when you should change, when you should adjust, when you should assimilate. There are benefits to being able to adjust to your environment. And certain environments require it. There's something called failure to adapt to the military. Typically, it happens at the beginning. But it's simply that, the inability to adjust to your environment. Some certain environments have time limits on it. Like you can't be struggling to acknowledge, authority for 2 years. No. You have about a day. What else we got? Once again, appreciate all the love for the birthday. We're doing what we can out here. You hear me? We're just trying to serve the people. You hear me though? Have you created your dream reading list to help take advantage of being in a more remote space? Listen, I have too many books to my name at the current moment. Way too many books. I read sporadically. I don't read every single day. But I have so many books I have not opened yet. I use Audible. I don't read school books. First of all, it's inefficient, and then I listen to books I don't. Reading takes so long. But yeah, I have way too many books that I have yet to even embark on, and then books I'm rereading, books that I read for certain moments in my life that I need to kind of refresh myself on. So yeah, I have so many books. I won't even get to the list right now. But yeah, love reading. I love how concentrated the information is. That's something you'll notice about anything written is that the information is so much more concentrated because of the amount of time it takes to transmit the energy from your mind or the information from your mind to the paper or to the medium. It takes more time to write. Hence, I would think in my personal world, newspapers are the most valuable place to get, although it still could be biased, it's still the most valuable medium for news because it takes time to transmit that. You're not printing off paper all day long, like Instagram is posting all day long, or, the news cycle is 24 hours on TV. Newspaper is pretty much once a day. So they have to be very intentional with their information. Hence the value that tends to come out on the paper. Although, again, it can still be biased depending on the outlet and, the powers that be. Love reading, though. Highly valuable. 28 years old. I can't believe I'm 28. Like, low-key, though. Like, bro, you almost 30, bro. Like, that's too much. Shout out to Mars for 99-cent super chat. Much love. Appreciate you. The USO is not in the business of giving out hot pockets with candles in them, mainly because their location is about 100 miles away. And I don't think they care that much. So yeah, that's all the questions I noticed. What am I doing the rest of my day? I'm going to bed. Nothing deep happening today. Not going on any adventures. Tomorrow's my Friday, so there's that to be excited about. I definitely enjoy the anticipation of that. I've been doing a lot of video chats as of late on Instagram. I don't announce them. I don't sell them currently, you know. But whenever I see a need, um, I, I do like to provide that value face to face, especially with like the more in depth conversations or issues that I think have a little bit more under the surface. I definitely like to engage, via video chat, especially seeing just meeting people. Today I did a video chat with a young lady from Ghana. It's just so dope to see where people are coming from. These different places in life, especially those who consume my content, and especially like it's the weirdest thing to have someone like telling you about yourself, and you've never met them before. Like, oh, I watched your vlog from here, and I saw your video on this, and it never gets old. Never gets old. It's probably the best part about YouTube. By the way, people, you know, where are we at? 20 subs, 19 subs from 10K. Goodness, people. I think I just hit like 20 or 2K on IG. Either way, growth is a sign that you've done something consistent. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be good or bad, but growth is a direct result of doing something consistently. That's really been the point of this channel is really testing my entrepreneurial spirit. Can I do something consistent? Can I provide value consistently? Which also, you will notice that when you start creating content, it will require you to learn consistently, because I can't keep giving out the same message. Obviously this channel is about documenting. The whole point of this channel is to document, my journey, the things I learned, the things I fell at, and just being transparent. I try to give the truth as best as I can deliver it, the best as I can articulate that, to give that to those coming behind me, So yeah, that's been the point of this channel is to provide that. And, it's been interesting. So anyway, I'm not going to prolong the video. But yeah, remotes are interesting. It definitely be an interesting experience to, encounter, especially working directly with the guard and, some Canadians and, just other allies that you may encounter. It's definitely different. Definitely, take advantage of them if you ever get the chance. Don't shy away from them. It's an interesting experience. Doesn't happen often, especially if you don't have a family. Definitely take advantage of them. If you don't have a family, wife, kids, husband, what have you, take advantage of it. You would never forget, especially like just your leadership. You'll see a different side of your leadership that, typically is not available in a local, or like a normal base environment. Seeing them just walking around wearing they dusty khakis, and yeah, you typically will see that side of your leadership, but it grounds you, especially in your perspective, to see that they're human as well. Obviously they're human, but to see them in a human light, to see them going to the gym and see them looking dusty around base and wearing sweats, and we're all human. Obviously we just have different roles to play. So that's the video. I'm going to bed, and I'm going to research some new purchases, because I am rewarding myself with some shopping online. Amazon and me have a long-lasting relationship that I aim to prolong in this environment. But yeah, y'all have a good evening. Once again, appreciate the love. 28 years old. We're gonna make this year different. You hear me? We're gonna make this year different. We're gonna grow. We're gonna try new things. We're gonna take chances. We're gonna take risks. So we'll see. 28 will be interesting. I'll be able to look back on this video one day when I'm 35, 36, and like, bro, you were so young, bro. But yeah, it's been an interesting day. Y'all have a good evening, and say it was good to your boy.